we are in the incredible 8th Street Market. What do you get when you mix music, art, bicycling, and a group of people who pool their talents to make some of the best craft beer in Northwest Arkansas? You get Bike Rack Brewing. And this is Untapped, Northwest Arkansas. So here we are with co-founder and CEO Jeff. And Jeff, one question. How did this all start?
Well, it started really kind of on accident. It was a group of us that were beer enthusiasts. All of us worked in corporate America. And the beer enthusiasm turned into home brewing. Home brewing turned into looking around for locations. And the next thing you know, we're opening a craft brewery. A small craft brewery across town here in Bentonville. And we started the company in 2013, and we opened doors in October of 2014 in a small little craft brewery that had a brewing area about the size of a big closet.
Wow, so a lot of growth. And it seems like you guys are all about the relationships that you've created. So how has that been a factor? I mean, why is it so easy for you guys to create these relationships to make Bike Rack what it is today?
Yeah, I believe craft beer is about community. And if you're going to be in craft beer, you're in the experience business. So what we want is we want every customer we have, if they're in our tap room, if they're walking by our beer on a shelf, to feel an emotional response when they see Bike Rack. So what we try to do is deliver something in our tap rooms with our partners that's above and beyond, that is memorable. And at least for the last 4 years, it's worked pretty well.
Awesome. And why is it important to you that you guys cover looking around the art, the music, the culinary relationships that you guys have with the areas around you? I mean, why is that important to you?
Yeah, for me personally, I think strategy is all about really defining what you stand for, what you mean. And for us, it's a pretty simple equation. The craft beer is an experience, and what we want to deliver is an experience that's special around art and biking. And around biking, we break it down into mountain and road biking. We stand for both, we support both. We probably lean more toward mountain biking because this is, in my opinion, the best mountain biking place in the country. And in the art world, we break it down into 3 different things. We focus on culinary relationships. We're right next door to a culinary institute. We love food. We love pairing beer with food. And then we also focus on the music. I love music. And what we wanted to do is deliver, like when you go to a city, you want to drink a local beer, you want to eat a local restaurant. Well, have you listened to your local music? So for us, we built relationships with the musicians around Northwest Arkansas and throughout the state of Arkansas. We give them a place to play, and we've actually got to the point where we created an album. And we've actually given them an opportunity to come in and have a song, and then we create an event, and then we've created an LP to sell to people because it's fun for us. And we can show community that way, and we can make people feel proud about the music from their area, just like they're proud about the breweries from their area and the food from their area. And then the final step's visual arts. That's why we have commissioned art pieces. That's why we love to work with Crystal Bridges on creating beers together. Art and beer go hand in hand, and they're both fantastic experiences.
Yeah.
They had a fantastic exhibit this summer, Georgia O'Keeffe, the Beyond exhibit. And we work with the curators, we work with some artists, and we created a beer that we felt embodied the exhibit. And we also created a can that was inspired by one of the artists of the exhibit. And I'd like you to have a taste of it. It's actually
Absolutely.
a Petite Saison. Yeah, 2-fisting it, very nice. It's a Petite Saison, and we've actually dry hopped it with dandelions. So it has a tart feel to it. And this is just a great example of how we like to do things that are a little bit different. We partner, and we try to bring in an artistic way as possible. And we have a person on our staff, Julian, who created the art, and it's actually inspired by Ana Valdez, who's one of the artists in the exhibit. And we tell the story, and we sell it there, we sell it in our brewery, and it makes for a lot more fun and integration with the community.
Well, and it speaks to what you guys do, because I would say, being a beer nerd, there's really nice balance in this beer. And of course, gorgeous color right off the bat, and that tartness just goes away. It doesn't linger so much. So talking about balance and how you guys balance everything that you do here at the brewery, perfect fit. Here we are at Bike Rack Brewing with event curator Jared. So Jared, so location-wise, you guys are here in the 8th Street Market. Tell me about that. What is this for?
8th Street Market is this culinary experiment in Northwest Arkansas where it's kind of immersed in becoming this foodie capital of the state, right? So it used to be an old Tyson chicken plant. In the center of 8th Street Market is the Brightwater Culinary School, which is tied to Northwest Arkansas Community College. And it's one of the, it's like state of the art, one of the best culinary schools in the nation. And we as tenants, and Bike Rack was the first tenant of 8th Street Market, but all the tenants and all the restaurants, they have this kind of relationship with each other, this collaboration mainly with the Brightwater School. And so for us, like for example, we'll take our spent grain and the bakery department will make bread out of it or pizza crust out of it, you know, which is pretty cool. Or they'll make a beer mustard, you know. And so we have this collaborative spirit when it comes to culinary, knowing that like we don't have to get into the food business and create our own restaurant, but we can have relationships with people who are doing it well. So there's a lot of things going on at 8th Street Market. We have food trucks outside of our tap room and our patio. We have a beautiful patio that people are hanging out and having food. We've got Markham and Fitz chocolate. We've got Yayo's street Mexican food. We've got all kinds. The Holler is kind of this hangout, Pinewood social from Nashville. Like let's do this shuffleboard and hang out all day, coffee, beer, you know, kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun to be a part of that. So we really see the culinary aspect of what we do and the craft of what we do in the back as something really important and a really important relationship with local restaurants. So.
That's really neat. And you said the term relationships. And honestly, that's what beer is all about when it comes to environments like this. So that's cool that you guys get it. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Yeah, absolutely, man.
And the culture at Bike Rack it's unlike what most people would expect at a brewery. It's very immersed in the community. And while we care very much so and deeply around making great beer, we want to tie that to an experience. So we say we're in the experience business, right? So part of that experience is having a great beer, and we are proud of what the guys in the back are brewing.
Jay. Hey, I know you're busy. Thanks for letting me interrupt. So how long you been brewing?
A little over 3.5 years now.
And we talked earlier and you said you actually love to write recipes. So I mean, what inspires you? I mean, what you just think of something in your head and you're like, I gotta make this work. I'm gonna put this down and we're gonna
generally,
make it to
or it's tasting certain flavors and you just think like, this might go good with a chocolate bock, or this might go good with a Hefeweizen, or so it's things like that. Is just the creativity aspect of the writing the recipe. Just you'll get that idea, you write it down, and hopefully you make a great beer out of it.
So that's what drives you every day. You come in here and you think, this is gonna be the batch today, you know?
Oh, for sure. All the time and energy to write a recipe and
And what's your favorite brew right now? What's your go-to?
my go-to that we have probably be our Pilsner right now. It's still very new, so I drink a lot of that for sure.
And we were saying the Pilsner is probably one of those lighter beers that someone that might not be on the edge of craft beer, not really knowing what to expect, that's something that they can probably start with.
I think
because it's
either that or like a Golden Ale is really great to start off for someone that's not necessarily into craft beer or is afraid to try it.
Have you, in your experience, have you had people start with lighter beers and then instantly go to something a little more in the fray and really enjoy it, and that becomes their new style?
I actually was like that. The first time I had a Bock and a Stout, I was hooked for life after that. And those are still my two favorite type of styles. So yeah, I mean, it definitely happens.
Well, and that fits right in with everything that we've learned about Bike Rack, is that you guys are there to push the limits and try new things and just bring it into the fold, and all about that creativity. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
And early on when we opened this, the most important thing is the quality of the beer. I sometimes don't always talk about it all the time because it's table stakes in any good brewery. You've got to come in with a beer that stands for something. What we do with our beer, we probably don't have the most crazy flavors, the most out there, the most everything. Right. We try to provide a more balanced palate with it. If you taste our IPA, it's got a fantastic palate.
I love the IPA.
And it's the starting point of everything. If you don't have great beer, nothing else matters. People won't come.
Right.
So for us, what I personally do is hire great people, ask questions about why they do what they do, what they're doing, and then let them do their thing.
There you have it, Bike Rack Brewing. I mean, I really had no idea there were so many layers to this brew pub. But don't take my word for it. Come see for yourself.
Okay. Run out of beer. You guys can't keep doing this thing.
Does he, for continuity's sake, does he need to fill up a little bit again?
Guys,
I don't think I've been sipping a whole lot just to.
Welcome to Macadoodles, where you'll find the best prices and selection in the area, from your hard-to-find bourbons to your liqueurs. Come on in, let us help you.
Welcome to the Wine Cellar. We sell nearly every premium wine in the world. If we don't have it, we'll special order. Our customer service is world class.
Macadoodle's craft beer selection is second to none, with over 1,000 local and national craft beers available.
Macadoodle's fine wine, beer, and spirits, and world-class customer service at the Arkansas and Missouri Line North.
BV Bar and Grill, where speakeasy meets sports bar. Indulge in some of the best comfort food around. Enjoy one of our handcrafted cocktails or local microbrews on tap. Over a dozen large screen TVs for you to catch the game and cheer on your favorite team. Open to the public 7 days a week from 11 to 9. Be sure to stop by during happy hour for daily food and drink specials from 3 to 6 p.m. BV Bar and Grill, 98 Clubhouse Drive in Bella Vista.
Here we are at Core Public House in Springdale, just one of the many tap rooms around Northwest Arkansas where you can find incredible offerings from Core Brewing Company. So let's head on over to the brewery and see what does it take to make this wonderful beer.
First of all, I'm a seventh-generation Arkansan, and I'm very proud to be from Arkansas. But my career took me to beer destinations like Boulder and San Diego for nearly a decade. And when I came back home, I had the opportunity to start this company because I wanted to do something that the community would embrace. I just really love this state. I'm very proud to be from here.
Brett here at Core Brewing, and I'm with Chris, Director of Sales and Marketing.
Yes, sir.
Chris, cheers, by the way. Cheers. Always gonna have. E-Stop, check it out.
Ouachita No Coast IPA.
I still think E-Stop, check it out. But yes, if you want to as well, so competition. Anyway, what is so important about having a craft beer movement in Northwest Arkansas?
There's several reasons. One, it stimulates the local economy. As everybody knows, the movement is to go back to local, which is smart. But more importantly, we as craft brewers and in this business are kind of modern day pirates. We're going against everything that we're told. oh, beer needs to be this way. No, you can do so many things with beer. Why not? Right? That's the question. We don't ask that question. We just do it.
So it's about pushing boundaries. What is your audience doing? How are they responding to this with the new beers that you guys are bringing out and just your overall culture and attitude?
Very well, very well. We've had a lot of positive feedback from all of our new beers. Obviously, it's an evolving market. We change things up a lot. We just recently refreshed a lot of our offerings, went away from some things that we've been brewing for a very long time, just because the consumer wanted something new, and we gave it to them. Our Ouachita No Coast IPA is our #1 selling beer right now, and it came out 2 months ago. As pale ales, you know, there's East Coast, there's West Coast. There's no coast in Arkansas, so we have no coast. That's a little in between. Just doing stuff fun, innovative, new, exciting. It's an exciting time to be in this business because we can do so many things.
Right. And it seems like it's all about fun, you know, and it's beer. It's not, well, I would say it's not rocket science, but there is quite a bit of science behind it's the whole process that we're going to find out about. And how do you guys keep core fresh? And how do you bring in new people into the culture, the core culture, so to speak?
We've got an amazing team. Our brewers are some of the best in the industry. They keep up to date with trends and the things that are happening. These guys keep pushing that envelope and coming out with fun new stuff.
What would you say to someone that's maybe on the fence? I don't know if I'm a craft beer person or not. You know, I don't like the dark beers or, you know, the usual arguments you hear against things when they really don't, there isn't that understanding of what this movement is about. Sell it.
I would say come into a core pub, talk to one of our pub leads. They're amazing, they're knowledgeable, they're all Cicerone certified beer servers, and let them guide you down the path. It's a very fun path. Once you take that first step, you'll find stuff that you never thought you'd like. You don't like IPAs? We've got an IPA that you'll love, I promise. You need a shepherd.
A shepherd. Nice. Well said. Chris, he's a master of words. Cheers again, Chris. All right, thank you so much. Core Brewing Company, check us out. Hey everybody, meet Ron. Ron is the head brewer here at Core Brewing Company. Nice to meet you, Ron. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
You bet.
So, we're in a room here where I'm guessing we're going to taste some beers. And we were chatting earlier about, we have core beers and flagship beers everywhere we go. But then a lot of times, you know, when we want to introduce a new style or a new flavor or a new something, what's the inspiration for that? I mean, what's the process that we get to when we're...
So what this room is, it was formerly the original tap room for Core Brewing when the brewery was here proper. However, what it has become now is kind of our brewer sample room. So what we do is we've got 3 brewers, myself, Rodrigo, and Alton. And what we do is we have personal preferences and beer styles that we like. So what we do is we try to come up with recipes that either are very historically correct traditional beers or some new experimental stuff with some hop varieties that may be hard to get, so we may do a one-off. But more recently, we've kind of have this internal competition, the Battle of the Brewers. So what we're doing here is, one of those is Imperial Stout. That one happens to be mine. That is the Mexican Chocolate Stout.
Mexican Chocolate Stout, okay.
It's made with cacao nibs, guajillo, ancho, and habanero peppers. It's an Imperial Stout base, so it's really good. The other thing is we've recently, or let's say last quarter, we did a double IPA competition, and that is the double IPA. That one will eventually go into production. So back to kind of what we do as far as designing new beers. Like I said, we will come up with recipes. As the head brewer, I'm not necessarily the final say-so, but what I'd like to do with the brewer set is come up with your recipe. Let's check it out. Let's see how feasible it is. Is it going to be cost effective? How is it going to be difficult to make? Is it going to be a fussy beer to drink later on? Does it have to be served at a certain temperature? So we kind of use this room as the experimentation room and kind of figure out before it actually goes somewhere else.
Get it dialed in, get it set.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Ron was obviously just explaining, the competition, internally here. But how much influence comes from, say, beer styles that are popular at any given point, like on the West Coast, the East Coast, things along those lines? And we're trends, because you never want things to be trendy, but hey, sometimes there's fun things that come out in the mix. So how does that come into play?
Exactly. So what we do, Rodrigo is my assistant brewer. He's considered the lead brewer, but he's a young man. I could old enough to be his dad. I try to make sure that I correct him when needed. But he is a definite New England style IPA guy. I'm obviously older than him. I grew up drinking IPAs and enjoying West Coast style. So what we do is we make fun of each other, and that's what kind of starts and cultivates the competition. So he says that New England IPA is better than my West Coast, and I'll say the reverse. And then what we do is we come up with recipes, and then that's kind of how it started. Of course, Alton, he's from South Texas. He's a very experienced brewer. And then Jesse, so Jesse is highly competitive. So you put Roddy and I bantering against each other, Jesse in the mix, and Alton, who's considered the dude, he'll just do whatever. He's like, all right, we're gonna have a competition? Sure, I'll do it. So that's kind of how it got started, and it's elevated from there, but we're trying to push the envelope every time we do another competition. So it started off with IPAs, now it's going to stouts, then it's gonna go to lagers, then it's gonna go to something, something, something. So we're always, as far as the pubs are concerned, going to have good beer styles coming out. They may not be very popular, but it helps.
You got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
You have to try something. So
it satisfies our needs instead of. Again, we're brewing beer, so it should be fun, and that's what we're trying to do, is enjoy what we do.
Well, thanks for sharing with us, Ron. I mean, it's interesting to kind of know, where the inspiration comes from for a lot of these brews and how you get to that point. I think a lot of people have wondered that in the past. So appreciate your time. Cheers.
We used to be more focused on possibly growth, but now we've kind of like I said, reinvigorated our brand to really what we're wanting to do is just produce fun new beers, fun new products for our community, and continue to make our public houses a place that you could go and relax and meet some friends and just enjoy some good product in a really relaxing atmosphere.
So what do you guys think? Core Brewing Company, one of the first brewers in the area. They still brew with passion, energy, and they're always coming up with new things. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go find one for myself right now. Let the record show that was not me. That was not me.
Welcome to Macadoodles, where you'll find the best prices and selection in the area, from your hard-to-find bourbons to your liqueurs. Come on in, let us help you.
Welcome to the Wine Cellar. We sell nearly every premium wine in the world. If we don't have it, we'll special order. Our customer service is world class.
Macadoodle's craft beer selection is second to none, with over 1,000 local and national craft beers available.
Macadoodles, fine wine, beer, and spirits, and world-class customer service at the Arkansas and Missouri Line North.
BV Bar and Grill, where speakeasy meets sports bar. Indulge in some of the best comfort food around. Enjoy one of our handcrafted cocktails or local microbrews on tap. Over a dozen large screen TVs for you to catch the game and cheer on your favorite team. Open to the public 7 days a week from 11 to 9. Be sure to stop by during happy hour for daily food and drink specials from 3 to 6 p.m. BV Bar and Grill, 98 Clubhouse Drive in Bella Vista.
a dynamic duo brewing team, a fiercely dedicated fan club known as the Taste Buds, and delicious beer. It's all coming up next on Untapped Northwest Arkansas with Rendezvous Junction. All right, so here we are with Mike Pearson, half of the dynamic duo that I was talking about earlier, Rendezvous Junction. I hear you have an awesome Genesis story. Share that with us.
Sure. My son-in-law and I took a trip. We could bond a little bit. We did the 4-pass loop out in Colorado around the Maroon Bells. It was an extreme hiking trip. We had to really get prepared for it, and we worked our tails off to get ready and then did the hike and realized we didn't prepare well enough. It was difficult. But nonetheless, when we finished the hike, I took him to a craft brewery to celebrate. And up until that point, Levi's experience around craft beer was non-existent. After the tour, we'd sit at their tap room and had several of their beers, and he goes, man, it'd be awesome to do this for a living. And as soon as the trip was over, we came back, bottled a couple of kit brews, and started brewing in the garage. I'm a pharmacist by education, so that background and that science made it a little easier for me than most. Levi and I chose to pursue this path of making our own all-grain brews and partnered with New Way Hydroponics here in Rogers. Stopped by and met Jesse, and he let me sample his grains, and before you know it, I'm making recipes, and Levi and I are at it in the garage.
And see, it's just amazing to think that, you know, you hear these stories and, you know, we get excited about things and things that we're passionate about, but you guys actually did it. I mean, that you're at this point now, it's like, how does that make you feel? You actually took the plunge and you're building on that now.
What's exciting, the thing about it is, I've loved craft beer for 24, 25 years. My wife and I used to live in Seattle, and we got introduced to craft beer at that point in time. And when we moved to Arkansas, there really wasn't any craft beer at all. And so I had friends and family shipping it to me from Washington State here. And to think about now the fact that we're a part of that whole industry, you know, it's just a bit surreal to a certain extent. We did something more out of a celebratory event, that we actually completed something, and we took it forward into, you know, actually doing it. And then what led us into, you know, the next step was we had friends and family joining us out at our house, you know, enjoying our craft beer. And at this point in time, we've got dozens and dozens of recipes, and we're sharing those recipes with friends and family. And those friends and family are saying, man, I'd buy this beer if you'd let us. You know, that friends and family evolved into kind of what we now know as our Taste Buds. And so opportunity opened up here, partner with a great company in Foster's Pint and Plate, and we stepped in and started learning how to commercially brew beer and take that homegrown or homebrewed beer and scale it to you know, a commercial opportunity, and voila, here we are.
See, and it's interesting because I feel that the way that you guys have grown and the passion that you have and to where you are now, you really haven't lost any of that ability to make beers that I've heard from some of the Taste Buds actually, that from the lightest to the darkest, or the most, you know, basic style to something that's a little out there, that it's accessible all the way across, you know, all the taps that you guys have, so to speak. Everyone just loves all those beers, and that's a hard thing to do, you know, because cherry picking these days, I like this beer from this brewery or whatever, but it seems that it's a very, you know, common thing for everyone just loves everything that you offer.
So Taste Bud, as I've learned recently, is
beer lovers getting together and be with the people that you love.
Friends, family, anybody really that can appreciate good beer and come together.
Enjoying local craft beer.
People that appreciate good tasting beer for what it is, you know, and
be able to take apart those differences of, hey, I'm an IPA drinker, hey, I'm a wheat beer drinker, and you all find a commonality between each other.
And getting together and drinking those beers.
Brewed by great people and just enjoying all that life has to offer.
Like a family get-together type of situation.
So that's what a Taste Bud is.
We're often asked, so what's up with the beer names? The reality is that coming up with beer names is almost as fun as coming up with the beers. We started naming our beers after what happens when people come together. friends, family would come over and enjoy our beers, and rather than just calling them a pale ale or a porter or an IPA, we started naming them based on what happens when people come together. Beginning with Shindig, our white wheat ale, followed up with Just Jammin', our cream ale. Dilly Dally is our malt-forward American pale ale. We've got a Hop of the Morning, which is an Irish red IPA. Lollygagger is our double IPA, and then Shenanigans is our imperial IPA. We've got a spiced amber ale called Chai Society, and then our vanilla coffee porters called Eavesdrop. Coming up with beer names is something that now is kind of taking a life of its own.
Where do you see that going in the future? What brews do you have in mind? Or
Yeah, well, so first of all, we did bring forward a couple of beers that I like. But what we've learned is that if we don't listen to our taste buds, that our best-selling beers are the ones that our taste buds recommend. We have an event every October. In fact, we've got one coming up on October the 13th out at my place. It's kind of a private event where we bring our taste buds out, and our taste buds sample all of. We'll have some of our commercial beers there just to celebrate that, but we'll bring forward several of our beers that kind of are in R&D at the moment, and they will give us candid, authentic feedback on whether they like these beers or not, and we take their feedback seriously. And just like, for example, today, Shenanigans is our top-rated beer, and right now it's our trending top beer. Shenanigans came from last year's Oktoberfest. It was a new beer that I introduced into that, actually related to some friends and family back in Seattle. And those friends and family actually came in and said, hey, we want you to make a beer in our honor because we're going to come to your Oktoberfest a year ago. And so, okay, what kind of beer do you like? Well, we want an IPA in Shenanigans we brewed in honor of our friends, our extended taste buds, if you will, from the Pacific Northwest. And that beer just really it took the show last year in October. And we brought it forward, and now it's our top trending beer. This October, we'll bring forward another dozen more of our R&D beers. And we'll listen to our taste buds once again, and based on that, we'll bring forward our next set of 1 or 2 or 3 beers.
That's awesome. So staying true to your audience, knowing what you love to do, having the passion to continue doing that. Mike, Rendezvous Junction.
Cheers.
Cheers. You guys need to check this out.
Just Jammin' is my favorite, Just Jammin', baby. The first time I had it, it brought me back to my childhood, drinking a cream soda right out of the can.
So I'm drinking the Eavesdrop Porter, and it's got to be my favorite one. Sweet, it's strong, it's got more flavor in it than the meal that you're going to have with it.
Chai Society is my fall go-to beer. It's got, if you like chai lattes, if you go and get a drink because you're like, oh, it's fall, I'm ready to kind of taste fall, you'll get that out of a Chai Society. And so it has those spices that whenever, you're sitting out on like a crisp, cool evening and you're wanting to kind of experience fall, like this is it.
They're very unique in flavor, I would say. There's not a brewery out there, at least in this area, that does flavors like Rendezvous Junction does. They're all good, clean. They're just super tasty. I mean, I don't really know any other way to describe it.
So the community and the passion and the drive and everything that comes together to make Rendezvous Junction what it is, and you've heard that from the taste buds. Come find out what it means to be a taste bud and what it means to be a part of this craft beer movement. I think you're gonna find that if there's something you think you didn't like before, you might just like it with Rendezvous Junction. I just need more of this,
Welcome to Macadoodles, where you'll find the best prices and selection in the area, from your hard-to-find bourbons to your liqueurs. Come on in, let us help you.
Welcome to the Wine Cellar. We sell nearly every premium wine in the world. If we don't have it, we'll special order. Our customer service is world class.
Macadoodle's craft beer selection is second to none, with over 1,000 local and national craft beers available.
Macadoodles, fine wine, beer, and spirits, and world-class customer service at the Arkansas and Missouri Line North.
BV Bar and Grill, where speakeasy meets sports bar. Indulge in some of the best comfort food around. Enjoy one of our handcrafted cocktails or local microbrews on tap. Over a dozen large screen TVs for you to catch the game and cheer on your favorite team. Open to the public 7 days a week from 11 to 9. Be sure to stop by during happy hour for daily food and drink specials from 3 to 6 p.m. BV Bar and Grill, 98 Clubhouse Drive in Bella Vista.
If you're looking for something different than a typical brewery experience, check out Saddlebock Brewery, a true farm-to-table experience.
Saddlebock is very fortunate because we built the brewery, or I built the brewery, from scratch. So I was able to design in certain aspects of efficiency. One of the major components here is it's 3 stories tall. It's a bohemian style of brewing. If you go all the way to the top level, you'll see where the grain gets put into hoppers and it's gravity fed down into our brew house. Then our brew house does its function, it produces wort, and then that is gravity fed once again down in here into the cellars where it ends up in the fermenters, which is tremendous for the sake of electricity. We use far less electricity pumping. We run up and down stairs and get exercise too, so it keeps us, our beer bellies down a little bit. Well, one of the unique things at Saddlebock is being out in the country, we do not have a sewer service out here. So what that means is all of our waste has to be pumped or taken off-site. Industry standards say about 7 to 10 gallons of water go into making a gallon of beer. Here, we're down to about 3 gallons because it behooves us, it costs more money, so we're very efficient with the water that we use. We hand clean certain things, we just don't leave water running. We have overhead hoists upstairs that we can take and just manually pull up a pallet of grain. We don't have a spiral lift. We don't do any of the electronic means for moving grain. We have a hops field right outside. Now, sometimes we use some of those hops, but generally they're there to educate the people to come in. So many people sit here and say, what is that? What is that out there? And half of them guess that it's hops, the other half have no clue, and they're happy to understand that part of making beer.
All right, here we are at Saddlebock Brewing in their wonderful tap room, and I'm with Mr. Saddlebock, Steve Raybach.
Hello.
And you can hear kind of the similarities in the name going on here, so I'm compelled to ask, how did the name come about, Saddlebock?
Well, the name came about because we're located on a horse farm. We had horses out here, trying to come up with a name. We've got horses, saddle, and my last name is Raybach. I've got a built-in beer reference in my name, so Saddlebock wasn't being used anywhere, and so it stuck.
Awesome. And I mean, it's a unique name, and so it's fun. It's memorable. I like it, and obviously it's a signature for you guys. So.
Yes, it is.
And so, what is Saddlebock all about? I mean, we're sitting here. I mean, I see, you know, it's a beautiful tap room, and obviously people come in and get to enjoy the beers that you guys provide. But you're so much more than that.
Well, we really are, and it really is about our location and the beer we make. We really make some good beer out here. We get complimented all the time on the beer. But what stands out is we're not in a strip mall. We're out 5 or 10 minutes away. People can enjoy the country out here. Our brewery was built to be a brewery. There was no building here. People ask that all the time. Was this a barn you retrofitted? No, this was built to be a brewery. We're on the White River. We have a lot of access to the water. People come and go. There's just so many things that you can do here and enjoy that you can't do if you're right in the city in a strip mall.
Awesome. It is beautiful out here. And so what you say you've grown, obviously everybody grows in a business and whatnot, but mindset and the evolution of the business here too. So what did you think you wanted to be when you started, and where is it heading now?
Well, when we originally opened, you had to choose between being a production brewery and a taproom brewery. So we wanted to make a lot of beer. So we decided to be a production brewery, which meant no food on site, no production of food. Well, they've changed the laws since then. Now we can have food, we have a restaurant, we have serve food every day. But we didn't think people were going to come in. We didn't even have this tap room as part of our plans until 2 weeks before we opened.
Oh, wow.
We were going to be all production, but it occurred to us some people may want to come out, sample the beers if they're going to put it into their restaurant or bar. So we had an interior designer come up with this bar area here, and we have about 8 seats. Well, lo and behold, people started coming out here with guitars, and I don't know why that happened. But
Like that's just the natural progression. People just show up with guitars. Why not?
They did, and they were very talented people from local bands, and they started picking and playing together. We had times where this little room here, and we would be sitting in the brewery now because there was a wall right here, was just filled with 8 to 10 people playing guitars. But it became a very friendly atmosphere. They brought out their friends. Next thing we knew, we had to grow. We started adding decks onto the outside. We pushed this wall aside. We have much more room here. We had to close part of this brewery down just because tap room became a precedent. We started selling more and more beer out of the tap room. One of the questions we often get is, can I bring my kids? Can I bring my dogs? We were voted the most dog-friendly establishment, restaurant, whatever, in Northwest Arkansas. So that was something else unique. People are in here with their animals all the time, and families are welcome. We want to bring people in that aren't just beer drinkers. We have a full menu. We have soft drinks. We have wine. We have everything like that.
And to complement all the brews that you have that we're going to talk about as well, the food. You guys serve incredible food. And some of it actually, because you have some cattle on site as well, correct? And some of that's worked into the menu?
We do. After a couple years, the horses left. So what am I going to do with this property? Someone recommended, why don't you just put cattle out here? You've got the food. The beer grain is a waste byproduct. It wouldn't cost you anything really to raise them. And I thought, what a great idea. It was actually a fellow who works for me had that idea. We give away all our grain to other farmers in the meantime. So now we've got Black Angus that we raise on site with our own spent beer grain. And there's a USDA butcher when we harvest the cattle. We use them for high-end premium steaks, and there's no antibiotics. It's farm to table. It's one of the true farm to table restaurants you can come to. And if you look on our board today, you can see we've got, I think, a ribeye and a filet as the specials for our steaks. We also make a very tasty German brat. The butcher actually makes that. And we've got our Saddlebock hamburger, which is prepared from the same meat. You can still get commercial meats here, that great, but most of the people come out here for our farm-to-table meat. When I was a home brewer, I developed a recipe. It was kind of a clone. One of my favorite beers was a Tank 7 from Boulevard. Yeah. Of course, now we're commercial. I love that recipe. I said, what am I going to do with this? I thought, well, we're out here in the country. This is Arkansas. Why don't I change it into an indigenous beer to Arkansas? My thoughts on doing that would be to add grits and rice to it. So the grits are representative of the South, and the rice is the biggest export from Arkansas. So we're able to get grits and rice from a local mill here, and we incorporated it into our mash. And it's an involved process to do that. It adds a few extra hours. But the alcohol percentage went up to 9.2% when we did that. We incorporated the right hops, and now what we have is this is our most complex beer that we make.
As you're describing, is there, shall we pour? Is there a certain style?
There's no special instructions on pouring this beer. Some beers you're supposed to minimize the head, and some beers you're supposed to accentuate the head, but this is just your typical
You're the
pour.
professional. I'm just the...
Well, you can see the color on it. It is a typical farmhouse color. It's a very malty, tasty beer, and if you taste it, it's very hard to even go over all the flavors.
Shall we?
Cheers.
So a signature Saddlebock offering here at the farmhouse. Yeah, definitely the alcohol content in here. You can tell, but not in such an overwhelming way.
Right.
Fashion. And you said it's a fun one for you to brew, you guys. And again, talking about signatures that you guys are all over the map. I mean, IPAs, lighter offerings for those that are. It's not a journey. People don't start light and always, go down the, the progression. Did you like what you like to drink? But it's nice that you have an offering for, everyone's palate. So
it is, and this has turned into such a popular beer. We only can 2 different SKUs. It's this and our Dirty Blonde. Those are the 2 most popular beers that we have.
Well, Stephen, thank you again for the sample here. And for those that haven't tried, I suggest come out and start with the farmhouse, or start with any of the other the brews on the menu. But this is a fascinating brew right here. So thank you so much for cheering. Feel compelled to cheers again.
Well, thank you very much. I've been really blessed to run Saddlebock for a long time here. I opened it. We've come a long way. We've grown in our production. But after 7 years, there's still more to do on this property. We have a resort opportunity here. And I'm looking for somebody right now to take over my day-to-day operations at Saddlebock as we open a wedding event center called Simple Blessings. And I really think that's a reflection of many things, that we've had a lot of simple blessings out here.
I wasn't kidding, guys. It's a farm-to-table experience, but it's so much more. Saddlebock Brewing is a true destination. Cheers.
Welcome to Macadoodles, where you'll find the best prices and selection in the area, from your hard-to-find bourbons to your liqueurs. Come on in, let us help you.
Welcome to the Wine Cellar. We sell nearly every premium wine in the world. If we don't have it, we'll special order. Our customer service is world class.
Macadoodle's craft beer selection is second to none, with over 1,000 local and national craft beers available.
Macadoodles, fine wine, beer, and spirits, and world-class customer service at the Arkansas and Missouri Line North.
BV Bar and Grill, where speakeasy meets sports bar. Indulge in some of the best comfort food around. Enjoy one of our handcrafted cocktails or local microbrews on tap. Over a dozen large screen TVs for you to catch the game and cheer on your favorite team. Open to the public 7 days a week from 11 to 9. Be sure to stop by during happy hour for daily food and drink specials from 3 to 6 p.m. BV Bar and Grill, 98 Clubhouse Drive in Bella Vista.
From fruited kettle sours to traditional IPAs to ancient ales, welcome to Bentonville Brewing Company. So here we are at Bentonville Brewing Company with the lovely Katie Boykin, who is a Jill of all trades, from what I understand here. From what she's told me, she pretty much runs the place. But Katie, tell us the story of Bentonville Brewing.
Well, Bentonville Brewing Company is actually the brainchild of a family friend of my husband's, Lee Robinson. Him and his buddy were brewing in a garage out here in Arkansas, and they wanted to start their own brewery. At the time, Benton County was a dry county, so you couldn't make beer, you couldn't buy beer at all in the whole county. So it was just something that they thought would be really cool at the time. In the meantime, my husband and I were living in Fort Collins, Colorado, and just doing what we do, which is make things. We made beer, we made cider, we made all sorts of stuff. We just like to do that from scratch.
I thought I heard sausage and cheese were
we
in the
made
mix.
cheese,
you know.
and we do like to make sausage a lot.
That's cool.
So we're makers, and Lee had contacted us and said, this is my thoughts, this is what we really want to do. You know, if that's something, you know, would you guys be serious about moving out here and working on it with us? And we told him, you know, if you're serious, you know, sign us up. And a couple years later, we found out he was serious, so we had to pack up and move. We ended up investing, and that's how we became owners, as well as folks who just work for the brewery. But yeah, I do and have done just about everything except for brewing from the beginning to end. I help brew sometimes, but I've worked in the tap room. I used to do all the deliveries, and I don't do that anymore. But now my scope is really managing the sales team and managing the tap room and marketing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, but it changes all the time.
I'm Lee Robinson, managing partner at Bentonville Brewing Company.
Bentonville Brewing got started, I think, the same way a lot of breweries got started, brewing beer in the garage with friends, and the idea was getting kicked around, hey, let's start a brewery, and then one thing led to another. The next thing I knew, we had a lease, and we were getting licensing, and we were developing recipes, and getting investors, and raising capital, and then about a year and a half of planning, we actually opened a little over 3.5 years ago now in Bentonville. Well, at Bentonville Brewing Company, we try to let the marketplace tell us what we brew. It's no big secret today, IPA is real popular, and that's what I started drinking, kind of got me into craft beer. Now I've kind of expanded my personal horizon from IPAs to a very wide range of craft beers. But we right now are also getting into sours. Those are really popular, they sell very well. And then we've also developed some more approachable beers like our Soulshine Kolsch that we do. Is probably our second best-selling beer next to the IPA. It's a lot of what the light lager drinkers will kind of gravitate if they want to drink something local and they go to a bar like what's similar to a Bud Light or a Budweiser. Well, we believe it's a lot better, not really similar, but it's not real hoppy. It's very easy on the palate, and so it's become our second kind of flagship beer. And then we also do a porter for our marketplace because we're the only brewery that's really, I say only, there's another one now, but at the time, we were the only person doing a porter, and so we decided that was something that our marketplace needed. And it was actually a really good idea because it was one of the first beers we got into accounts. Because when we first started selling beer, there was like 4 IPAs on every place we went to, but they're like, no, we don't have a porter. So that got our foot in the door. And then after a while, we were able to get the IPA on and the other beers as our reputation grew with those accounts.
Do you like watching people have an aha moment when they come in and maybe they've tried a beer they never tried before and they love it? I mean,
Yes. So my favorite thing is getting people who don't like dark beers to try our porter, because that's my personal favorite beer. It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees outside, I can drink that sucker all day. But it happens a lot at beer festivals or when folks come in to try a flight and they're really not, they might be new to craft beer, they might be just kind of, feeling like they're getting experimental with it. I like to have people close their eyes and just give them something. They can't even see what they're drinking, and then they're like, this is great. They open it up, and now they find out that they like a dark beer, and I ruined their life.
That's it. But that's nice, though, because like you say, pulling not out of a comfort zone, but just people aren't going to try without a little nudge sometimes, and and that's what it's all about, just that exploration. So.
As a craft beer lover, if that's what you like, you're always looking for something new and different. And I think at Bentonville Brewing Company, we're always trying to do something new and different while not forgetting our flagship beers that we have, from our Homewrecker IPA to our Soulshine Kolsch or to our Natural State Porter. Those are great beers. They've got a great following. If you haven't tried one yet, people do need to try those. They're awesome beers, but also be on the lookout because we're constantly trying to do new things, and we'll have limited release beers. That's the other thing, because it also keeps it fun. Our brewers back here get tired of brewing the same beer day in, day out, so we've got to let them kind of be the mad scientists that they are and have fun. So the craft beer drinkers also get to appreciate that as well.
What's the next step for Bentonville Brewing Company?
Well, I always wanted to bring kind of what I knew of the craft beer culture from not growing up, but coming into like young adulthood. Like when I moved out to Colorado, I wasn't able to drink legally, so I turned 21. That was the norm, the drinking culture norm. You'd go to a brewery and hang out with some friends, have a few beers, bike someplace else, and it was a very family-friendly kind of a place. It wasn't like going to a bar, per se. And it was just pervasive there. It was something that was so common, I took it for granted when I moved. So I would really like to see Arkansas get some of that, because we already have so much of the biking culture that's taking over. We've got great trails, and people love being outdoors. And to have a place where you can bring the whole family, invite the friends, play some games, bring the dog, eat something from a food truck and try a few beers that you've never tried before. That is what I think is the next step for us. Right now, we're actually working on building a new facility back in Bentonville. and will be our final home, and it's going to have a huge outdoor space and really embody what I just described.
Right. Well, and that's what I think is so cool about the craft beer movement, and it's still a movement, and just the culture, and everyone uses the term community, which is so apt, because it isn't about just going in and having a bunch of beers. It is about having that experience, and it can be different everywhere you go.
We're heavily involved in the community and charities and donating beer. We constantly get asked to donate beer. We very rarely say no to anybody, especially if it's going for a local community charity. So that's another way that we try to give back the best that we can. We like to even have different events here at the brewery where we donate some of the sales for beer to the charities, and those are some of the biggest events we have when we get a charity, another local business, and some music and some good beer together, and it's just some of the greatest events that we can have.
When people go and explore, then why should they definitely include Bentonville Brewing Company in their craft beer exploration?
Not only do we make really good beer, because obviously that's why I think all of us are in the brewing game, is because first and foremost we always wanted to make great beer, but we have a really great culture. We're very much about the people who work for us, the people who come and see us. We're like a family. Our business is owned by a family, basically, and we treat our employees like family. We have potluck dinners. We want you to not just stay and have a beer, but learn about our story, get to know the person sitting next to you, leave, with plans to come back on Wednesday for our book club and, hang out some more. So that's
really cool.
The kind of thing that really sets us apart, is definitely the people.
Katie Boykin and Bentonville Brewing Company and Bo and Lee and everybody else creating an inclusive environment to make beer drinking fun. That's awesome. Now let's stare at the camera and do an uncomfortable, either a high five or a fist bump to get going here, like that weird, like, oh, we were going this way, we went this way. She gets it. Bentonville Brewing Company, super fun, guys.
Today, people can get Bentonville Brewing Company beer at about 200 different locations in Benton and Washington County, and even as far as Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and over to Siloam. We've got, I think, about 70 package stores and about 130 draft accounts, roughly.
Innovative brews don't happen by accident, and we've seen that today at Bentonville Brewing Company. Fruited kettle sours, to traditional IPAs, to recipes made around ancient... Bink. Get the pinky in there. Okay. Making the whole craft beer experience fun, just like it should be. Katie and the gang at Bentonville Brewing Company, come check us out. Yes, because that was crap, I always kind of know what I'm trying to do, but then it goes and then it ends real hard on that. So, yeah.
I just hope that we have blueberries.
Welcome to Macadoodles, where you'll find the best prices and selection in the area, from your hard-to-find bourbons to your liqueurs. Come on in, let us help you.
Welcome to the Wine Cellar. We sell nearly every premium wine in the world. If we don't have it, we'll special order. Our customer service is world-class.
Macadoodle's craft beer selection is second to none, with over 1,000 local and national craft beers available.
Macadoodles, fine wine, beer, and spirits, and world-class customer service at the Arkansas and Missouri Line North.
BV Bar and Grill, where speakeasy meets sports bar. Indulge in some of the best comfort food around. Enjoy one of our handcrafted cocktails or local microbrews on tap. Over a dozen large screen TVs for you to catch the game and cheer on your favorite team. Open to the public 7 days a week from 11 to 9. Be sure to stop by during happy hour for daily food and drink specials from 3 to 6 p.m. BV Bar and Grill, 98 Clubhouse Drive in Bella Vista.